I will begin this chapter by first retrieving the sample program that we created in Chapter 1. Click on File and then Open, and then you need to find the folder where that project has been stored. I have it stored in a VTC C++ folder, and simply click on that file name and it will open into your workspace. You will recall that in the sample program we defined and used variables. A few words about what a variable is. A variable is simply a memory location in which you can temporarily store data. The data may be entered by the user at the keyboard, it may be read from a file, or it may be the result of a calculation made by the computer. In this example, we're creating two variables, num1 and num2, to allow the user to enter their data down below. The third variable, total, is the result of a calculation of adding num1 and num2 together. Before proceeding any further, we need to take time to learn how to select appropriate variable names, a data type, and a value for it. First, there are some rules that we need to learn about variable names in the C language. The rules you need to understand to create variable names are as follows. The first rule, and probably the one which is most often confused, is that variable names are case sensitive. This means that the variable name you create has to be spelled consistently throughout the entire program with regards to upper or lower case. Second, variables must begin with a letter. Third, you can only use letters, numbers, and the underscore. No punctuation characters or spaces are allowed in the variable name. The C compiler you are using determines the maximum number of characters in a variable name. In Microsoft Visual C++, a name could not be longer than 247 characters. Of course, you would not want to use such a long variable name, as this will become cumbersome during the execution and the writing of the program. A variable name cannot be a reserved word, sometimes called a keyword. Keywords have a special meaning in C and must be used for their intended purpose. And finally, you can use either upper or lower case, but due to C's case sensitivity, you must be consistent with the spelling of your variable names throughout your program. Ultimately, when you declare a variable, as long as you follow the rules mentioned here, it is up to you as to what the variable name is called. You should use a descriptive name for each variable. The variable's name should help you remember the purpose of the variable. One popular naming convention for variables in a C program is to type the variable name using lowercase letters. If the variable name contains two or more words, however, capitalize the first letter in the second and subsequent words. Keep in mind that this is just one convention for naming variables. Many others are also used. The important thing is to select the method that makes the most sense to you, and then use that method consistently in all of your programs. Returning to our sample program, notice that I used num1 and num2 to distinguish between the two variables. I used lowercase, and I used numbers simply to identify two different items. Likewise, I used lowercase in my variable called total. Once again, I could have used any combination of spelling here, but consistency is key. In addition to selecting an appropriate variable name, you must also determine the appropriate data type for the variables you create. In the next segment, we will discuss variable types.